Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here on our community call. I'm going to start bringing up our team members so we can start.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone
Hello,
doing?
hello.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
I
Good
am
morning,
doing
good
good.
afternoon, good evening,
Good
wherever
evening.
you
Yes.
are. Thank you for being here with us. We're really excited about what we're going to talk today. Um, We're gonna wait for some minutes, I think, so we can get more people in. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. And please be sure we're gonna try to address them all. So let's wait for a couple of minutes while other people join. We're gonna check everything is running. You can give me some checks if things are running smooth, and we'll start.
Yeah, I think this was the smoothest start to the community call because I didn't start it.
Woo!
I think there were no issues. I just double checked. YouTube was live, Twitter is live. I got a confirmation. The audio video is also going okay. Sometimes there might be a lag between individuals, but that's about it. Um, Let me double check.
Okay.
There was a chance that Michaela, some of the team members had the older link, uh, and that's probably what happened. But no worries. You can kick things off, and of course, we can add people as we join in as well. But I
Okay,
believe otherwise
wonderful.
everything is good.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone will get their way to here. Thank you so much for sharing the right link. Just a general housekeeping to start. Let me move this so I am on the center of the stage. First of all, thank you for being here. My name is Micaela, and we're gonna do some agenda items so everyone knows how we're gonna handle this call. The first and most important thing we're gonna go through today is our pre-mint of the Snapshotter Lite node. We know everyone is very excited to hear about it, and we are too. We're really looking forward to let you know more about it, to answer all your questions. So we're gonna have Sorup to letting us know all the details. We're gonna talk about the criteria, the timeline, address some of like the most asked questions that we've seen so far on our Discord, on our Twitter, and then after that, we're gonna run a series of Q&As so everyone can ask their questions to the team. Hope we can address everything. Please leave your comments on the chat so we can go through them and look into the questions. And yeah, we can start if everyone is ready. How do you feel, Sorup, to start?
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's awesome. We had such an amazing day yesterday. I'm like, obviously, I had a very sleepless night before that. I was super excited working with all our team members, getting to this big day. And, we had this community call sort of planned as well, but, we just wanted to make sure that it was communicated all around that time. And yeah, we wanted to do it as quickly as possible to tell the community what's going on. And hope everyone has had a chance to take a look at the announcement. But those who didn't and probably just showed up to the community call, welcome. We had our Node Mint announcement yesterday. Woohoo. I want to see in the chat those of you already actually gone to the pre-mint page, secured their spot, whatever it is on YouTube. We're also live on Twitter, so give us a shout out there. And I think we'll try to monitor Discord. I know it's gotten a little more busy since yesterday. But yes, and we will also do Q&A probably a little later, right, Michaela? So I'll probably go over a few things and then we can address it. Today's call is mostly going to be around that. I completely understand. Most of the questions will be around the pre-mint Yeah, I wanted to maybe Sami or Pratik, you guys want to come on stage for a little bit before I sort of dive in how the whole thing works. Sami had actually hosted the Twitter space yesterday. Was there was a lot of people listening. That was our first space. We had never done the space before. It is technically a little challenging with Twitter to make sure that space runs. So because we're used to now the setup, which works really well, but spaces are a little easier when we want to bring in a lot of speakers from the community and external partners as well. So I think that went well. Sami, you want to talk a little bit about who all showed up, what we talked about, and then I'll dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you everybody for taking the time to be here with us today. For all of those that were with us yesterday, incredible, obviously, like moment for us here at Powerloom. We took the time yesterday to really kind of discuss more or less what we've been building over the course of the last 3 years. Swaroop, Anomit, were kind of like really diligently working quietly, stealthily alongside Akshay and very small team, for a very long time. And finally, over the last 6 months, been able to scale this protocol, this project into what it is today and what we announced yesterday. It was really important for us to be able to also share with you guys the kind of longevity of the relationship Swaroop has had with Sandeep, with Polygon, with Matic, for the purposes that Swaroop and Anomit started something called Block Vigil, some time ago. And that was kind of like the genesis and the eye-opening experience for us to kind of really dive into what is decentralized data and what we have created here as a composable data network. And it is extremely exciting for us to have this moment to share with you guys, to have Swaroop, Michaela, Pratik here kind of explain what we've been building and give great detail to all of you guys that are excited about this pre-mint. So thank you once again for being with us. A lot is to come, and there's an exciting opportunities for finally this kind of world of decentralization in the world of Web3 to actually start living up to its name. So excited to be here with you guys.
Thank you, Sami, so much. I don't know, Pratik, if you want to say something, I'll put you on the center of the stage.
All right. No, thank you. Yeah, I think I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome a lot of you. I think we've just seen almost 30-40% growth in our community following since last night. And these are crazy numbers. So welcome everyone. This is I mean, the way I think about this is we are redefining the the core principles of decentralization, and essentially we are looking at data differently, and as pointed out by Sami, he was talking about how Swaroop and Anumet have built projects previously. One of them was Block Vigil that went to almost like 1 billion API calls every day, and to now kind of getting into like this mode where we are thinking composable data infrastructure, decentralized data infrastructure. This is what excites me the most. This is what keeps me going in terms of getting these on-chain data primitives and positioned as a public good. This hasn't happened before, and we are very excited to kind of do this with the onboarding of the 10,000 nodes that we announced yesterday. So there's a lot more to come. Very excited in terms of building it from a community standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, but also very excited about the tech. So, yeah.
Thank you, Pratik. With that said, I think it's a good moment for Swaroop to take over and let us know all the details about what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Pradeep. And yeah, so I think the first thing I wanted to sort of address, because what tends to happen is, for whatever reason, there's a lot of new community and our existing community members who have probably jumped straight into the website and they're not clear on what's happening, what the whole purpose is of the Snapshotter node. So I think I want to like go back a little bit on what we had done before, right? So if there are testnet snapshotters on our YouTube chat or Discord, please give a shout out, since you know, you guys have been around, that you are part of that phase one that we did way back in August. It feels like a long time ago, but it was just like 6 months ago we came up, we announced it and we onboarded all of you folks, and it's been great. We had ended the program very recently, and I had been, sort of not trying to tease, but I was trying to like, hey, please be patient. We've been working on something. We can't talk about it yet because we wanted to make sure we are ready. I'm going to pass it on to Anumit just briefly as well to talk about how we sort of got there. But the goal was, we onboarded about 100 people, and not all 100 graduated because, it was not easy. That was one of the feedback that we got. It was not easy to run the notes, in spite of us making it super easy compared to everybody else out there. So we started thinking, how do we make it easy for people who don't have a lot of DevOps experience and still want to contribute to the community, right? So that was sort of our experiment with phase two, but phase two was more about doing activities, doing more on-chain data, right? So we took that as feedback and we started looking at ways of not only like, and we have already announced 10,000 nodes, right? So you guys might wonder, how did we just suddenly go from 100 to 10,000, right? So that work has been going on behind the scenes, and I think I'll let sort of Anumit talk about the big changes and maybe architecture and things that are going on, and then I'll dive straight in. But the main purpose was like, it was from the very beginning, one thing that we always thought about when we started Powerloom was like, why are there other networks where most of these, whether they're nodes or whether they're contributing as indexers, it's always in hands of people who have to either stake hundreds and thousands of dollars or have really high spec machines or like, clusters of servers to actually contribute to the network, and everybody else is either just like in some sort of an individual contributor who cannot even take part in these things. They mostly end up just becoming delegate. They sort of delegate their tokens and all those things, right? So that's kind of where we started thinking, how do we make it easy? And of course, our eventually the network will decide how these nodes are run, but we decided that at least we're going to give an opportunity to 10,000 slots, right? So I'll go over the details on how each slot works. Maybe briefly, Anumit, if you want to come on stage and just talk a little bit about the big architecture changes, how you guys sort of have been addressing, and how we are ready to onboard all these people. His network may not be the strongest.
Oh, you're frozen.
It's frozen. No worries. I'll pick it up. Not an issue.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So first, I think if we can drop, I'm going to drop the link in YouTube. This is very important. Please go through a blog post. I think people haven't, and that's why there's a lot of questions that came up in the last day. So we just want to make sure. I think Anumit is back, but Anumit, we weren't sure because you were sort of frozen. So it's okay. We're just going to move on. Okay. I think we can hear him. Let's give it one more try.
Yes, we can hear you.
There you go.
We'll give it one more shot because I'm in a area with not such a good network coverage. Yeah, so in brief, one of the biggest feedbacks that we got was the complexity to run the Snapshotter nodes. Yeah, one of the biggest feedback that we got was the complexity to run the Snapshotter nodes, both in phase one as well as phase two. The part about sources as having sources as well as having cost, storage costs, things like that. So what we have done as the part of what is going to come up now is that you do have the option of selectively like entire of your cloud computing or whatever resources that you dedicate usually to Snapshot and nodes. And along with that, the setup process has been simplified even more. So very less of filling up configurations, having to understand where does your IPFS URL go and where does your RPC URL go. A lot of those things have been simplified. So the system costs are way less. You get to contribute still to the consensus, and you still get to be part of the network. And obviously, you also get incentivized as part of it, right? So all of that stays true, but we have made it very possible for you to possibly run it out of. I actually run it out of my local MacBook, not from this remote area right now in a village, but definitely when I'm back in the city, you can be sure that I'm always running the Snapshotter node on my local MacBook. So yeah, that's how easy and simple it is now to set up, and I can run it while I'm also running my VS Code and running other compilation builds behind the scenes. So yeah, that's like the biggest like exciting update that I could give in the most brief period of time. More details will be coming out soon. Our senior protocol engineer Akshay will also be publishing a lot of things that will be written about. Plus, we'll have a lot of other workshops that are happening in real life in different campuses across India. So it's a very exciting time for us because we are now seeing things happen at a scale that was not seen so far before and at an economical scale. So the things that has to well as reliable provider of data, I think that's well on its way to come to fruit.
Thank you so much, Anumit.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anumit. All right. So I dropped the link, but what I'm going to try and do is do a little bit of screen share so that it's easier when I'm talking, people get a reference. And if they're looking at the blog post, that's great. If they're not, which tends to happen, maybe they're just looking at the video. So I'll try to do that as well. So let's get you guys started. And I just want to make sure there's no mirroring because I know it tends to do that a little bit. Let's see. There we go. All right.
It's
So this is our big announcement. It's the first ever data infrastructure mint happening on Polygon. We're launching 10,000 nodes. So those of you who are just joining in our call, is what we've been talking about. And so first what I'll do is I'll sort of address maybe the newer community that has come in. And then I'll get to the part about for our existing community members who have been there from the very beginning, whether you were the OG members or those who participated in phase one, or whether you participate in phase two. We've got something for all of you, right? So we've hinted it. So you've been patient. You're going to get all the answers in the next 10 minutes. So yes, what is one of the things that, like how Anumit talked about, we're breaking this into 10,000 nodes, making it super easy for people to run. And this is what your the mint NFT is going to look like. But today, what we've done is we've made pre-mint open, right? So one thing about this pre-mint criteria is that you need to hold. So for the website, if someone can drop the link, I will actually just drop it here quickly as well. And that is mint.powerloom.network. Please make sure you do not click any other link sent by people in DMs. There will be a lot of people trying to scam you, especially trying to say, hey, here's this other website. This is how you interact. Most of them will try to take your ETH. Like those who have done the pre-mint, I wanted to see in the chat if you can sort of either say you were able to successfully pre-mint or not. It's okay. If you sort of visited the website, we would love to see some of you because we have seen at least 6,000 people who have shown up since yesterday with their wallets. So it's been awesome. If you can confirm, because at the end of the stage, we don't ask you for anything apart from like just checking your wallet, right? So the pre-mint criteria is very, very simple. You need to hold 0.1 ETH on either Ethereum mainnet or Polygon PS. On Polygon PS, it's called a wrapped ETH, but we will do the check. You don't have to worry about how the wrapping works. If you own ETH on Polygon PS, it's automatically an ERC20 token. But the important thing is we are checking it as of a certain date, which is January 17th. So those of you remember, we tweeted out something. very, very recently, and that was actually on the just on the 18th morning of Pacific time. That snapshot has been taken. This is what it was. The reason for this is, like, you might wonder, why aren't you checking my balance right now? The problem with checking the balances right away is that, people will just keep moving balance from one wallet to the other, and they will just keep registering new wallets, right? And then it beats the point of checking for balances, because then everyone ends up pre-minting. So we wanted to give some sort of a criteria to limit those who can come in. And and the pre-mint website looks a bit like this. I'll do a quick screen share of that as well. So if you go to mint.powerloom.network, there's a lot of information explaining you how it works. There's some information about mintiers as well. I'll get to that. But most importantly, this is the main aspect, right? So please make sure that you click on that, connect your wallet that you end up using. We will just essentially make sure to confirm your request. There's no gas here involved, right? So that's the only question. And then after that, once you fill it up, you'll get your pre-mint information. Okay, so that's how pre-mint works. Oh, sorry, I think I wasn't sharing that screen. Perfect. Oh, my bad. Let me open that again. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Michaela, for pointing out. Yeah, somehow it hides the screen share when I'm doing it. Okay, so we are back on. Is it showing the link again? No, it isn't. Why is it?
We were seeing the blog post again.
Hold on, let me see.
Yes, now.
There. Yeah, it's made too many screen shares on the left side. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is how just repeating again, sorry guys. It's mint.powerloom.network. There's a lot of information around the pre-mint criteria. And after that, all you do is connect your wallet and you confirm your signature, right? That's the only thing that you have to do. And if you want to switch a wallet, we do support that. If you have, like, this is my ledger right now, it'll take a few minutes to go set it up. That's why I'm not doing the demo. Otherwise, you can switch to a hot wallet as well. We support bunch of wallets, whatever this model supports. And once that's in, but please make sure that you sort of read the criteria, understand why there is. Now, the reason behind that, and you can always click on this to give this information back. I think this is what we wanted to talk about. Okay, and once this is done, now to understand what is going on, right? So as of today, the pre-mint is open, right? So January 25th is when we open the pre-mint. It closes on February 4th, right? This will be the last day. And on this day, we will actually now confirm all the registrations, and within a couple of days, so by the 6th, we will announce who has secured the slot for the special mint window that we are doing on the 7th. So on the 7th, we will actually hold a 48-hour window where everyone who got a pre-mint slot, like, we will basically choose 5,000 winners out of these, and these 5,000 winners will be able to mint. And that's the criteria that is for the minting criteria, right? So we're going to put up more information about how the minting works, what are the tiers. So this is just a tentative aspect. Like, right now, there are no costs. So please make sure that you don't click any link that takes you to a website that makes you interact with some contracts, spends money. There is nothing. There is, apart from you confirming the wallet, that's all the Mint website does right now, right? So, okay, coming back to it. Now, how these slots working? We have decided that for the pre-mint, regardless of how many qualified wallets are, we will choose 5,000 random winners. We're going to try and make it as transparent as possible. Probably we are speaking to some partners how to do that so that people can see when those numbers are chosen. It's not going to be some internally, hey, we'll just choose 5,000 people that we know. It's none of that, right? All of the proof that you're doing, there's an on-chain, there's an off-chain proof of it. There's a reason why we didn't do on-chain for this, because it would just end up costing gas for people. There would be just ways of things going wrong. So we have come up with a cryptographic way to verify this, that you were part of the pre-mint. So we'll release more details on how that works. And on the 4th, between 4th and 6th, we'll choose the winners and we'll announce that. So that's about 5,000 slots, right? And when the public mint goes live as well, everyone will be able to do it. There is no requirement. So those of you who couldn't qualify for the pre-mint, I just wanted to clarify that as well, right? So that is the state. On Feb 7th, whatever slots are remaining from the tiers, now obviously, there might be a lot of, there might be less slots remaining, or there may not be any slots remaining. We're going to make sure that there will be some, right? So we're working on it. So even though it might look like as if everything will get done before the 7th, that's not the case. So everyone's going to get a chance. The only thing is on the 7th, obviously, whoever did not get into pre-mint is going to try. So it's going to be a very, very short window where you might want to secure your slot, right? So don't worry if you did not qualify for pre-mint. There is still an opportunity to mint this node. But before you sort of think about that, please read this, why it's important. It's about running a node. It's not about minting an NFT, right? That's something we wanted to make it clear. It's actually not even an NFT. We are calling it a soulbound token. We've been using that terminology since phase 1, because the idea is it's not transferable. So once you get it, that's yours. You cannot trade it. And in the coming months, we'll be explaining on how that works. But more importantly, when we go to mainnet, until we go to mainnet, that is the only way to run a Powerloom node. Just wanted to clarify that, right? So there's been a lot of questions about it, and I'll be going through in the Q&A as well, one by one. But this is just to make sure on how that works. Payment right now is just to get a chance to get this for. Okay, so that's 5,000 people. Now I think comes down to the existing Powerloom community. I think they've been all patiently asking questions, so many DMs, so many messages, so many threads, in so many channels. Shout out to the mods. I think they, just so you know, like we had to keep it a secret, so nobody knew about it, and everybody just came to know at the same time. So they've been trying to answer your questions, so please be patient as well. So how does it work for the existing Powerloom community? And when I mean existing community, those of you who have been around with us for a very long time, the OGs, the phase 1 folks, phase 2 folks, well, I'll go through the breakdown. So what I'll do is, because I think I do have a document, but I'll stop the screen share and I'll go through the numbers directly on. So if you pre-mint is open to everyone. So whether you're an existing community member or not, you can take part. Now, for the existing community members, there are 4,000 additional slots, right? Now, how is the breakdown for that? So first of all, I wanted to shout out from all the people from OGs who have been messaging me on that channel yesterday. So who's here on the community call? Maybe we should have done it in a way that you have to come for the community call. Only then you get the slot. Let's see. Are there OGs, any OGs in the YouTube chat? If you can give a shout out. I think there were some people in the beginning. Yeah, okay. I see some names around there. Okay. So all those of you who held the testnet OG NFT are going to get a guaranteed slot, whether or not you get into the pre-mint or not. So one guaranteed slot, no other eligibility. There is one requirement. We will do a check if you're active. What we mean by that is if you're no longer on our Discord, for whatever reason, and you only took it and then just left it, then you may not be eligible. So we will be running a check on that. The reason for this is because a lot of the OGs who stuck around with us, right, we want to encourage that, right? The idea behind it was not to go and just get an OG tag and just go and like never ever actively take part in the community, right? We're not going to go through your chats. We're not asking you to go spam the channels. That's not the point. The point is to remain active in the community. So that's the only other requirement. There's nothing else. We won't check your ETH or none of those things. So there were about, I believe, 1,300 of you, maybe a little over 1,300. I think it was about 133 something number. And those are all the OG folks. So all of you get one slot, right? So no other requirement, is as simple as that, right? So make sure it's the same wallet. So if you've lost access to the wallet, we cannot do anything about it. Sorry, guys. Because again, it was an SPT. We talked about it even back then, right? Okay, next. So one slot for each phase 2 participants who have done at least one on-chain task, right? There were a lot of people who complained about, whether or not they couldn't do KYC or whether gas. And so we came up with gas incentive and all those things. But what we are doing is, if you took part in phase 2 and you did at least one on-chain task, whether it was even the most simplest task, I believe the very first task was called bridging your funds, right? So if you bridge the fund, then you at least get one slot, right? That's it. We again will not check your ETH balance. So this is different from pre-mint. Again, clarifying it for the community. So those of you who took part in our phase 2 testnet on Merkle, if you did at least one on-chain task, do not run to Merkle right now and try to do the on-chain task. It will not count. All of this, we took a snapshot of this, so we already know who all of you are. And again, I just wanted to clarify, we're going to set up a different website. The reason why we did not show this on pre-mint, we did not want to confuse the existing folks, right? So we're going to set up a different website for you to verify your slots. So that's coming soon as well. And it'll be something very basic. Those of you already know because you have it on Merkle or you have the testnet OG NFT. So it's as simple as that, right? That's about it. So that's one slot. So if you're an OG and you did an on-chain task, you get 2 slots. So congratulations, right? So that's something to do. Now, the next thing. This was a hard part, right? We were trying to figure out for phase 2 participants. Right now, some of you are still waiting because, obviously we haven't rewarded all of you. But what we have done is those of you who at least completed your KYC and qualified for our phase 2, right? So I believe most of you end up, we actually took a check. Most of the people had gotten the 100 XP. So that's pretty good. That was the minimum threshold to qualify for phase 2 reward. So if you got the phase 2 reward, you were eligible for it, which means you had to complete the CoinList KYC and get verified and check on Merkle, right? So it has to be connected. If it hasn't, please reach out. We've already confirmed that a few days ago. That was the reason for that final update from me saying, hey, this is the final update. All the gas incentives have been sent out. And this is the final time we're going to verify KYCs, because that's when CoinList said we have completed all the applications. So if you have done that, then please make sure. Sorry, if you have done that and it's still not showing on Merkle or whatever reason, you need to get that fixed ASAP. But yes, so if you are eligible for phase 2, you completed the KYC, then you get another slot, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're an OG or an on-chain task holder. So I'm going to repeat it again. So if you're an OG, you did a phase 2 on-chain task, and you completed your KYC on CoinList, then you get 3 slots because it's one for each, right? So, and if you were not an OG, no worries. If you did an on-chain task, you completed KYC, you get 2 slots. And let's say you couldn't finish your KYC. I know it was very painful for people who work with CoinList. I'll go over the KYC stuff for our thing as well, what's going to happen for the next testnet. That's okay. If you did at least one on-chain task, a lot of people did, and they couldn't finish the KYC. So we're giving you 1 slot for that as well. So you can take part in the pre-mint, but this is your guaranteed slot as a community member. And I hope all of you are happy. It was not easy for us to come up with these numbers. We had to keep it fair for the new community as well. So this is the number. Now, I haven't forgotten about our Snapshotters. So obviously I'll message them saying, please do come to the community call. A big shout out to all of you who graduated from our phase 1 program. This is important. There is a list of people. Not all 100 of them were eligible for this. We will give you the final number because some of them had finished the KYC beforehand, so there's not much of an issue there. So if you were a graduate at Snapshotter, right? If you had been running our nodes for 3 months, pretty much, spending RPC on your own, helping us getting it done, we're giving you 10 slots for being a graduated Snapshotter from our phase 1 program. Those of you who are our Snapshotters, please give a shout out. I would love to see some of the names. I think I usually see them on Discord. They're a bit quieter on the general channels because we have our internal channel with them for talking about snapshotting. So I think that's where they will be. I will confirm this again there. So there's 10 slots for you guys, and because the idea is we want you to become, we want you to hold enough slots so you can do what you've been doing for the last 3-4 months, right? So that's sort of the goal. And this is our thank you to you. I know some of you spend a lot of money to run these nodes, and I think that's also why you wanted to appreciate you've been waiting on your reward. So and as for phase 1 and phase 2 rewards, again, just to clarify, those the Powerloom tokens will be coming in at mainnet. We made that very clear, right? So that's not being issued at the moment. This is more about our node mint. All right, I'm going to go through it one final time, just the numbers one more time, but we're going to post this. I believe Prateek and I will figure out how to explain this. We'll probably put it only on our community channels so that it's not causing confusion for new members. And new members, don't worry about it, right? This is why we, you're new here, it's okay, come join. There will be opportunities. So even if you are coming on our website and you're not qualified for the pre-mint, we'll figure out ways, right? So just be active with the community. This is what it is, right? So existing community members. So if you're an OG member, you get 1 slot. If you finished a phase 2 on-chain task, very particularly, so if you had to do one of those Bungee Owl to save tasks, at least 1, you get 1 slot. If you did multiple tasks, you still only get 1 slot. Just a clarification there. It doesn't mean you get 1 for every task, right? So if you had to do at least 1. And then if you finish your KYC in phase 2, then you get 1 more slot. And then if you're a graduate Snapshotter, you get 10 slots. For Snapshotters, just to clarify again, we're going to limit it to 10. The idea is we're not going to include the ones from phase 2 because we don't want it to just keep adding to that. But for the phase 2 participants, you can get up to 3 slots if you're an OG member. Okay, hopefully that clarifies that. Pre-mint folks, we still have a lot of slots open, so come in pre-mint because the qualification is not easy. We will be addressing that maybe in the Q&A. I know a lot of people have asked why we're only checking for ETH or staked. We're not checking for staked ETH. We're not checking on other L2s. We've taken your feedback. I'm not going to make any promises on this call. We'll think about it and come back. But right now, we had to come up with something. So this is what we have. We partner with Polygon as well. That's why we are giving we're checking on Polygon POS and not just only Ethereum mainnet. And there will also be an opportunity for folks who are coming from different ecosystems. So this hasn't been fully announced. And this is what I wanted to clarify. Maybe Pratik, if you want to just dive in on some people that we are talking to. So there are about 1,000 slots for these partners. We have listed this on our blog post as well. So just to clarify as well, if you guys want to take a look, but some of them are already announced and some will be announcing in the coming week, right?
Yep, that's right. And then we do have a lot of partners. A lot of communities who are essentially getting involved, and some of them are like big names also in the industry. So it's essentially going to be like a lot of people, a lot of new people coming along with all of you who are existing. In the community as well. So exciting times, and of course, one thing I would definitely would want to kind of double down on is the fact that we have these slots open, and we are giving enough time to all of you to kind of get involved. It's not like, oh, we finish it in 24 hours or 48 hours, we get done. And the reason we're doing that is because we want more participation. We want the goal is essentially to keep it more participative and more decentralized, and that we can achieve only when we have more and more people coming from different ecosystems, active ecosystems, and then we've done our due diligence on our side as well when we partner with some of these partners, some of these communities. So exciting times, and also of course, as we get or as we onboard these communities and partners, we will definitely be communicating that to all of you. So that is definitely going to be paramount.
Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you. Michaela, is there any agenda items before we get to Q&A?
Well, basically, our next agenda item is the Q&A. While everyone's been speaking, I have been gathering the main questions that people are asking, so we can start with those. I see there's a lot of questions about the minting price and the tiers. So if you could address that, Swaroop, I think that will be helpful for our community.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, just going to take Sammy and Pratik off so that it's just 2 of us. Sorry, guys. You'll be backstage. Okay. Michaela, how do you want to do it? Will you read out the questions and then I will read the answers, because there is definitely a lot of things happening on chat.
I know, and since there's a lot of things happening, I'm kind of condensing some of those questions. This is why I think that the first one we'll need to address is the minting price and the tiers. So if you can explain around why is there a different minting price, and how do you know what tier you belong to? What do the tiers mean? And there's a question about the tiers that says if higher tiers get more rewards.
Okay. All right, I'll clarify that. So these tiers are still tentative. We just wanted to give people an idea. So until we announce that we are ready for the actual minting, that's the day that we will explain these tiers and how it works. But as of now, if this is what we go live with, and we wanted the community to have an idea, right? What is it? What is it required to get one slot, right? Because it's like if you pre-mint, what's the purpose, right? So the reason we are broken down into tiers is it's going to be first come, first serve. It's going to happen on a contract. It is not live right now, so don't look for it. There is no contract for you to go and interact with it. So it will be announced on February 7th, and February 7th maybe around Pacific time. So please, and we'll be giving the exact date and time. So don't worry about all those things. So that will happen due course. We just wanted to make sure the pre-mint was open first, right? So pre-mint has no cost, nothing associated. And if you do win a pre-mint slot, or let's say you're a community slot owner, and you're like, no, I don't want to mint. This is too expensive. It's okay. You can just pass on. There's no obligation for you to do it, right? So this is just for people to understand. So in terms of the tiers that we have made it live, right now the way they work is that each slot has a certain ETH price. This will be happening on Polygon POS. So the goal is it'll be using a wrapped ETH. If you bridge it from Ethereum, it's essentially ETH just becomes wrapped ETH. And if you take it from another chain as well, if you use like bridges like Bungee and Across and others, they'll also do the same. So you don't have to worry about it. We'll be answering that as well, like how to get that. Again, please don't go and get this ETH in your wallets right now. So until we have confirmed that you have a slot for those initial window, best not to do anything at the moment. Once we give the confirmation, you can decide. And please keep in mind, the idea is it's meant to work like a smart contract sort of an option in a way, right? So it starts with the tier 1, goes all the way till tier 5. We have tried to keep the price not too crazy fluctuating. So it starts at 0.125 and it ends at 0.225. Right. So, and what we've done at every tier, we have limited how many slots there can be. And it starts at 1,500, 1,750, 2,000, 2,250. And then the final tier has 3,000 slots. And that will basically end up making it 10,000 slots. If you guys are doing the math, that was sort of the idea behind it. Now, the question was about do I get more tier rewards at higher tiers? No, because then it would be pretty much impossible for us to differentiate who's coming from a different tier. So we're not really giving out different SPTs. So the way the contract is going to be designed is that when you come in, whatever tier is open, you can mint your SPT at that price. Right. So you'll be allowed during the initial, before the public minting, that phase, will only allow whatever slots you have been given. So if you're coming from the pre-mint, if you were a winner of the pre-mint, you get 1. If you're coming from the community, you can get up to 1, 2, 3, or even if you're a testnet snapshot, you get up to 10. On the public mint, everybody is allowed to mint 10, and that's going to be the goal. But yeah, so you can only buy that many from each address. That's also the reason why. So we want to keep it fair. We want to make sure that everyone at least gets an opportunity to get one slot. So as long as you were either a community member, a slot holder, or a pre-mint slot holder, you get that opportunity in that window, right? But it's first come, first serve. So if you get it at the lowest tier, you have an advantage. But in the end, when we go to mainnet, everybody's treated the same. We don't want to give people preference because they came at a certain slot. The only difference is the price. And we understand, right? Some people will not be very happy that they got it a little later in, but there's no perfect way to do it, right? That's kind of the goal. But again, these are very tentative. We might change it based on feedback. That's also why we have put it up. We wanted to see what people sort of respond to it and sort of decide on it. I think it's pretty fair compared to other things that are out there. But yeah, I hope that addresses the minting part of it. We'll be covering it again. Don't worry, this is not the final call before the minting starts. We're going to do one more call and explain how this works. Ideally, I think once we close pre-mint and we announce the winners, we'll probably give this information one more time in detail.
Wonderful. Thank you, Swaroop. There's a couple of questions around what you mentioned, sorry, for OG members. Does this mean that the OG members and the partners do not need to participate in the pre-mint?
So pre-mint is open to everyone. You can participate in the pre-mint. You can get an additional chance. That's completely up to you. It's a different process. Pre-mint is for all public folks. and we have the criteria. So you do need to hold ETH, either 0.1 ETH or 0.1 WETH, and that's the main goal, right? So if you don't have that, then you will not be able to pre-mint. But if you're an OG member or any of our other applicable for any of the other community slots, you don't have to pre-mint. If that's the question, there's no need to pre-mint, but you can if you want, right? So that's up to you. And same goes for our folks coming from our partner ecosystems. We'll be announcing more details of that as well. So all of those people will also don't need to pre-mint. But the question is, it costs you nothing to pre-mint. So just go ahead. If you're eligible, just you get one more chance to get one more slot. So I would highly recommend that everybody pre-mints.
Amazing. Someone is asking if these OG and testnet slots will be given after February 7th, or when will they be given?
Yes, so all slots will be on the 6th when we announce the pre-mint winners. We will also announce the community winners, the partner slots, all of these people we will be announcing. But before that, we will set up something for you to know whether you're eligible as a community member. Like right now, it's a bit confusing for some people. Like we said, we're going to also check, are you active with the community? Because if you are an OG member and you just took that OG NFT and left our Discord, then when you're not going to be considered active. So we're going to set up a site for that, because right now, as long as you are, this is pretty simple, because if you're on our Merkle platform, so you know, right? Because you have done an on-chain task, you have a reward for it. If you've done a KYC, you have a reward on the Merkle we still have the Merkle dashboard is still open. It just doesn't let you do new tasks. You can go to your rewards and confirm that if you had that, which means you're eligible. We will set up a site to confirm it, and we will announce the final ones on the 6th, because we'll just have to put out all these addresses who can take part in that window when it starts on 7th. So all of them, whether all 10,000 of them.
Amazing. Someone is asking, do we need KYC for running the node?
Yes. So this is something we're going to explain a bit more in detail closer to the mint, because we're still finalizing on the KYC partner. A lot of our existing community was very frustrated with the CoinList experience. There was a reason, right? I mean, CoinList, you do have to understand that it is it's not just a KYC, but they're also a platform. And that's, I think that was sort of not very clear to a lot of folks. And so those who were CoinList members sort of knew it already. And that's why the KYC was very simple for them, because they just clicked a button and they got their KYC done. And that's why we chose them, right, in the first place. But for this one, it has no connection to CoinList platform. And so we are working with a few vendors right now and try to figure out what's the most compliant way to sort of do it. The reason for KYC is to get testnet rewards. So I just wanted to clarify that. So what we are coming up with is when the sale, the mint goes live for the node mint. This is the public mint, right? So the day and that day you will be able to start running your nodes, right? So we're going to put up our documentation. Those of you who have already taken a look at our new documentation site, it mentions a Snapshotter Lite node coming soon. That's what it's going to be. So you'll have all the instructions, and the instructions will be up before that, right? So don't worry about it. So you should be able to, because if you have that NFT at that time, the SPT, you will be able to run that node. That's the main thing, right? So to run the node, to mint, there is no KYC requirement. Just to clarify that, the only requirement is you cannot be from certain jurisdictions. It's mostly United States, sanctioned countries. Just wanted to clarify that as well. That remains. But there are definitely, compared to the list of countries that we had for CoinList, I believe we are able to open up a few more. For example, I believe we are able to open it up to Canadian users. So shout out to the fellow people in the country I live, in Canada. You will have access to Powerloom's testnet this time. But yes, so you'll be able to mint, you'll be able to run your node. You will be able to also join our mainnet without KYC, right? So that's not something the requirement is, because once you mint the node, you'll be like, hey, if I can't KYC, what a waste of time, right? Now, and waste of money, and there are no refunds because it's an SPT. You get it, you cannot transfer it back to us. So we wanted to clarify that. The question is that it's the reward structure, right? So the rewards before mainnet, at least post mainnet, we'll get to it, because once it's fully decentralized, the network will reward you. There will be no Powerloom, as an entity that sort of has to give this out to you and check with individuals. So up until then, there will be a testnet running. This is different from phase one. So our phase one folks already know it, right? So they all pre-qualified for KYC before they even started running nodes. That is not the requirement this time. But to earn those rewards, to claim those rewards, right, you will still need to KYC. So what will technically happen is you'll be able to run your nodes and the rewards will accrue. So let's say you're unable to KYC on day one, that's okay. We're not going to restrict people for that because there will be a huge spam of people coming in. 10,000 KYCs cannot be instantly done, right? So that doesn't matter. But you need to be able to do that. At mainnet, we can only reward people who have finished KYC. But this time it'll be, I'll promise it'll be a little easier than CoinList. We are trying to work with ways where we can check with other documentation as well. I believe the biggest feedback was people who did not have passports could not finish KYC, right? That was one of the main things. And I think we're trying to work on it if we can make that happen without that. No promises yet. And that really is up to the vendor. But yeah, we're working on a couple of them and see which one can do that. Hopefully that clarifies. We'll explain this one more time closer to the mint stage as well.
Thank you, Swaroop. There is one question that's been asked about what are the rewards for someone running a node?
So reward structure is not public yet. It will be made live before the minting. It'll be based on when you run the node. It is much lighter compared to our Snapshotters who have been running it. So it's kind of equivalent of about, at least internally, the reason why we did this, like, for like how our existing Snapshotters are getting about 10 slots each for that reason is because we believe we made it 10 times lighter internally. But as the mainnet progresses, that'll be very different. But up until mainnet starts, it's going to be very, very simple. It will probably, you might have to keep it running all day, but it will not be consuming resources every hour. The idea is for you to be active once a day. But in terms of rewards, that's kind of the structure. As long as it's running every day, you will be earning that base reward for that day. And we'll give out the actual breakdown of what that reward looks like because we have to just decide on how long this testnet phase will run. And based on that, we'll get back to you on the reward structure.
Amazing. There's one last question. If you could clarify, if having a guaranteed slot still means that you will have to mint the nodes based on the node mint tiers.
Yes, it's not free slots. You're just guaranteed a slot. That's the difference. Because if we give out free, then there is not much to do, right? No, it's not free for our Snapshotters either. Just so you guys know, those people have been running their nodes, without getting the reward. Like obviously they are going to get their phase one rewards, but yes, you still have to mint the actual slot, right, based off the tiers. What you're being guaranteed is during that window where we are trying to keep it as fair so that one person doesn't come and just take all the slots or a big chunk of slots. So we're trying to keep it fair between that 48-hour window. So if you either got a pre-mint, if you're a pre-mint winner, or whether you got a community slot, then you will be guaranteed to mint during that period. And then once public minting opens, anyone can mint. The tiers, whatever the tier prices is, all will be on a smart contract, so it's not controlled through a backend. Just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
Oh, there's a question that now I'm seeing on the chat. What happens if you have a slot but you don't meet the node?
Nothing happens. You just
nothing
you just
changes
give it out
for you.
Yeah, it will get cleared when we open the public minting phase. At that point, what will happen is all the leftover slots, we already thought about it. That's why, even though we have sort of announced these 10,000 slots for before the main minting stage, the public minting stage, we know not everyone is going to claim their slot for whatever reason, right? Maybe the tier price went up, or they don't want to spend, right? In the first place, they don't want to run a node. and we're giving you a slot anyway. We can't force people to go and mint it. So, and that's completely okay. You just lose your slot. We are not going to penalize you just because you have a slot and you didn't take it up. It'll just be taken up by somebody else. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of people waiting to take that at the public mint. So yeah, I'm less worried about it. But yeah, if you get a chance, please do mint at least one slot if you want to and you want to run the node. That is.
Okay, I think there is a question. There's this last questions. Will I be farming Powerloom tokens with the node?
The token is not out yet. We've sort of given hints about what it's going to be called for a while now, and hope some of you have gotten hold of it. I see we have a Powerloom intern account that somebody's running. It's not me, just to clarify that. That person's also been sharing some bites from the team. So yeah, take a look. But yes, for the rewards, what we have done so far, for phase 1, we announced a specific number of tokens. So whenever the token goes live, which is on mainnet, we haven't decided on the mainnet date yet, but we are aiming right now in probably by Q2. So Q2 is our goal. But it's subject to so many other things because we have to follow compliance, and it's not completely up to us, right? So I mean, sometimes you can just put a token out there, but we want to do it the right way. We've been working on this really hard, right? So we want to make sure that. So yes, technically you end up farming is a weird word. I think it's a reward is the right word, because when you take it's a dress rehearsal for the mainnet, right? So when you go to this is the reason why we call it a testnet. Even though you're dealing with real data, we call it a testnet for this very reason, because it's dress rehearsal for the mainnet. So whatever the mainnet rewards is going to be, you're just going to get that in the similar fashion. And then as soon as we go to mainnet, they will automatically become Powerloom tokens. Hope that clarifies.
Thank you so much, Sarup. I have one question here with a little bit of an
this will be the last one because I think we're running out of time on the Twitter one as well.
Yes, thank you. I could be here all day. Yeah. Thank you. I just chose randomly the last question. So the last question is, what is the difference on reward wallet holding one NFT versus 2 NFTs while running the node? Is it 2x per wallet holding 2 NFTs?
Good question. It doesn't matter whether there are 10,000 slots. So one wallet can hold more than one, or it can be on different wallets. Each slot is treated differently for rewards. So if you have 2 slots, you get double the rewards because you also have to do double the work, right? Simple as that. But yes, that's the most simplest answer. It doesn't matter where the slot is. If they are in the same wallet or different wallets, they're all treated differently. And yeah, you get the reward for each slot. Okay. Hopefully that answers everything.
Yes, thank you so much. That was a lot of questions. Thank you to everyone who's been participating and asking everything that has been unclear for you. We'll make sure to take all the notes of what you've been sending in our community channels here on the call. And please remember that we are hanging out on our community channel. So if you have more questions, we'll be happy to address them on our Discord. Don't forget to read first the blog post that kind of explains what we've been just launching and mentioning here. We're very excited for all of you to be a part of our composable data network. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Sarup, for your time and for answering all these questions. And thank you to everyone that I will bring here. I bring Sami that is also here. If I see Pratik over here, I'll also bring him.
Usually I have to deal with everything, and it was so smooth. Yeah. We can't see Pratik for some reason. So I'll hide him. It's not showing his face. Okay, yeah, thanks so much for community members. Please be patient on Discord. We'll answer these questions. I know some of you are still need some clarification, but we'll do that. And please be respectful for the mods as well. You got to watch your tone when you talk to them. Most of them are voluntarily doing this as well. They're also community members like you. So yes, we'll answer that and see you guys at the next call, right, Michaela?
Yes, we'll see you on the next call. Thank you for being here and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.